Well, Nettie's Treasures is open today. It's Christmas. So I went down and said Merry Christmas to Laura Nelson and her husband and her son. And across the street is the Rusty Bucket. It used to be next door, but they moved buildings. And Gary Jeppson and Mary Jeppson and Cammie Jeppson were there. And I wish them a Merry Christmas. Now there's a lot of people in this town who have done me wrong. Mary Jeppson, she may not have the nicest things to say about me all the time, but she's never done me wrong. Ever. You know, I get them snide comments, but then again, she's a good woman. And then snide comments come with the territory. It's her way asserting the fact that she is a human being and she does demand that respect of a human being. She is every bit the equal of any man. Matter of fact, I'd say she is more than equal to most of the men that I know. You know, she feeds me regardless. Gary Jeppson. The man's never done me wrong. When Phil McPhee screwed me out of a lot of money, didn't pay his portion of the bills, didn't pay his rent, and I moved out of there and had the electricity turned off, Phil McPhee wanted to come hunt me down and beat me up. Well, I let him know it was going to happen. And, well, Gary Jeppson let him know that was not a good idea. Not because I'd beat Phil up, because I wouldn't. I'm not violent. But, because Gary knew what had happened. He knew that Phil wasn't paying the bills. He knew that I was. He knew the bills were in my name. Cammie Jeppson, she never done me wrong either. Now, she has said some things that were pretty hurtful. After Natalie died, she's one of those people who thought that everything had all gone away and people were leaving me alone. And she said, you know, Sean, I was sticking up for you until you went cray-cray. I said, what the hell is cray-cray? She said, you know, you went crazy. I was pretty pissed off at Cammie for saying that. But you know what? I'd gone crazy when I hurt my back in 2015. Now, my back was hurting pretty major before I injured it. I mean, one of my posts or one of my messages, I was talking about how my back was hurting on October 1st of 2015. Pretty bad, too. But it wasn't to the point that I couldn't walk. It wasn't to the point that I couldn't move. It wasn't to the point that I couldn't get away from the police and their harassment and their cruelty towards the homeless. I don't like police for a reason. There's a lot of people who don't like the police for a reason. Gary Jeppson, he's got a grandson named Brent. We call him Bump. He's been a state patrol officer and a Sydney Police Department officer. I do trust the man. I just don't trust him with a badge. I don't trust anyone with a badge. and that's for good reason. However, I love Brent. I really do. I love his brother Sean. If the Jeppsons asked for my help, they'd get it. But it's not because they never did me wrong, although they never did me wrong. It's because I love them, and because when I needed help, they helped me. Now, there's a big difference between helping someone and someone earning it, and most of what I got from the Jeppsons I did earn. But all them tools that I got, I didn't earn those. Not most of them anyway. Most of them were help. Sean Jeppson knew that I used those tools to help people out, and that's why he gave them to me. Gary Jeppson, he threw a lot of tools out when they get new tools, and that's where I got most of my tools from, was from Gary throwing them out, or Jason, his son, throwing them out. Right now I'm walking by Rory Jeppson's house. I got a lot of tools from him too. Now, most of those tools that I got out of the garbage can, I can't say that that was help necessarily, but it was a big help. But I also got to admit the fact that I earned those. I earned functional tools because I took tools that were broke out of the garbage can and I made them work. There's a lot of other people that, despite the fact that they screwed me over, I'd help them too, even to this day. If Lana called me up and said, Sean, I'm not doing well, I can't take care of myself. Amanda and I got into an argument and she left and I can't take care of myself. Miss Jerry's busy with her kids and with her life and doesn't have time. Yeah, I'd still go help Miss Lana. I still love her. Now I'm walking by Aunt Bee's house. That's Brenda Dickinson. Unlike Lana, Brenda didn't screw me over intentionally. She wasn't mean or cruel most of the time. And the 2 times out of the entire time that I've known her, she's only been mean to me twice. Both of those times were after Natalie died. And both of those times were because I checked her for not keeping her word. If Aunt Bee needed my help today, she'd get it. If Alicia Bollinger needed my help today, she'd get it. If Danica Garner needed my help today, she'd get it. If Shelley Campbell needed my help today, she would get it. If Rihanna Ingersoll needed my help today, she would get it. If Nicole McIntosh needed my help today, she'd get it. If Maddie Boa needed my help today, she would get it. If Pierre needed my help, he would get it. If Mackenzie Chapman needed my help today, you know, she never did anything for me except be nice to me. But that's good enough. Now, after that whole situation in Virginia, a lot of people were mean to me. I didn't even get out of the state before people who weren't even there for it were judging me. I lost the only 2 actual friends that I had at that point in my life. It was Natalie Bollinger and Maddie Boa. Earlier in that month, I lost Candace Bondurant. I lost Jerry Sparks and Tyler Frericks. I had to deal with a lot of Tyler's friends getting a hold of me and being dickheads. The fact that Tyler gave my phone number out to one of his friends and he was sending me a bunch of racist bullshit. That little bastard didn't even know how to spell the N-word right. Jeff Baldridge taught me, know who's good to you and be good to them. I understand that all this happened over a fucking telephone. While I was in the hospital in Scottsbluff recently, just a few days ago, matter of fact, there was a woman who worked there named Shannon. And she knew a little bit about the Natalie situation. She's friends with the people who own McIntosh Dairy. Oh, this dumpster is full of broken glass. Yeah, I still look in dumpsters. I can't jump in and dumpster dive like I used to, but if it's on top and close enough to grab, I can do that. Oh, there's something from Social Security. Dwight Pruss. That guy used to be an officer. One of the stories that I told was about Dwight Pruss. When I was renting my mom's house, I had literally given my mom $200 to stay at the house on First Street for a month. $200 ain't much, and I know that. I was glad for the place, but literally the next day, my stepdad, Michael Scott Wade, he showed up. Him and I haven't gotten along since I was a little kid, because I lied and said that he molested me. He didn't. I just didn't like him. And it was wrong of me to do, and for the rest of my life I had to deal with that. But he came home and he was pissed off I was there. Mom lied to him outright and told him I didn't have permission to be there. So I broke all the china in my mom's hutch. She was all sorts of pissed off about that. Right after I broke it all, I did what I always do. Called the police on myself. And it was Officer Dwight Pruss who came to see me. He was sick. He had a temperature of over 100 degrees. He was puking and all sorts of stuff, but I needed help. And I'll be damned as if Dwight Pruss didn't drive me all the way to the Scottsbluff Hospital. He did the right thing by me. I told him I needed help, and he took me in for that help. I let him know that I was suicidal. He said, you know, I'm not against suicide. If you want to kill yourself, I think it's all right. But, he was still good to me. He told me that he quit being an officer down in Denver. He couldn't handle all the actual crime there. It's nasty. But he said the reason that he quit was because of Suicide Watch. Because they don't listen to you. And he thinks it's an ugly thing. Brent Jeppson said something similar. And he's not the only one. A lot of officers have told me that. Officer William Barr had something similar to say. Him and I aren't on speaking terms anymore. We had an argument. I think I'm on the city property now. I should probably go the other way. Wow, that is tiny. Kind of looks like a motorcycle frame, but it's tiny. There's a few other folks that are officers that let me know the same thing. Brittany Louise, this is an officer friend of Miss Peach's. She had something similar to say about Suicide Watch. Most of these officers agree that when somebody's suicidal, there's a reason, and that reason needs to be addressed. Ignoring that reason and locking somebody up and trying to force pills into them right off the bat is the wrong thing to do. And most of these officers agree with that. I believe in saving lives and not taking them. I had to do a lot of desperate things to try to force the police to take a look at what was going on. To try to explain to you how fucked up my head is from all of this having to move, all of the threats and harassment. You'd have to endure it. To know what it's like to be treated like a child molester by people that you never did wrong. People who should know you better than that, all over rumors. It doesn't matter who said what. It matters where it came from and where it started. Natalie and Alicia Bollinger, they both knew that I didn't stalk them to Virginia. They should have never said that. They didn't understand how, especially when you're a pretty girl, how that'll get twisted and people will do mean things. And I tried being nice about it. It didn't matter. In March of 2017, that's when the messages from Tim Beeson started showing up. March of 2017. This is after I've already endured months of harassment by people that, man, I didn't want nothing to do with any of them. I just wanted to go see my loved ones. I wanted to go see Rabbit. I wanted to go see Mobley. I wanted to go see Sarah. I wanted to see a lot of people. I wanted to see Pierre. I wanted to be able to go to Boulder, Colorado and see my loved ones without getting harassed the way that I had been getting harassed. Natalie didn't understand that. She didn't understand that because she didn't come forward with the truth that people were doing horrible things. And because I hate violence and I hate confrontation, I just basically tried to avoid Boulder altogether. And it hurt me a lot. People don't understand what it's like to be robbed of all of your loved ones because of a rumor, especially one as horrible as that. And although Natalie never told anybody that I raped her or molested her or anything like that, not that I've seen anyway, and Alicia Bollinger never said any such thing either. The fact is that people were saying those things. They were saying those things because way back in Virginia, they had lied and said that I stalked them, and that rumor just got out of hand. I just needed it to stop. I needed them to tell the truth so I could go see my loved ones. I know that's never going to happen. I know that most of my loved ones I'm never going to get to see again. But you know what? I did right by them. I kept them safe. I kept Natalie safe as best I could. I kept Alicia safe best I could. You know, for me to come forward and admit that the things that I had to go through growing up had happened. You know, when I was confronted and couldn't go away, couldn't leave the situation, that's when I had to find my voice. When I went to Miss Peach's on the 26th of December of 2017, it's because I needed help finding my voice after what Ken and Leah had done. You know, right after they took my money, they started acting a lot different. Leah was always selfish. But after I moved out of Chapel, Nebraska, and Ken and Leah had all my money, and I realized I needed to leave, I didn't have the money to leave, and I freaked out over that. I was already freaking out bad enough over not getting to see my loved ones, majority of whom lived in Boulder, Colorado. I was over that rumor. Ken and Leah stealing my money was only part of the problem. Getting brushed off by so many people when I was trying to tell them what was going on. When I tried to tell Derek Parrish and Joanna Smith what was going on, that was early in 2017. And Derek, he just threw a tantrum for days on end. When my grandma died, I didn't really get to mourn. When Natalie died, I didn't really get to mourn. When Janine died, I didn't really get to mourn. With Rory, kind of. I mean, I got to see the Jeppsons. Blake, he gave me a ride out to the cemetery, or a ride out to the church in town for the funeral here. I walked out to the cemetery. Gary and Mary Jeppson gave me a ride back into town from the cemetery. Took me to the Rusty Bucket. I love Candace Bondurant too. She's never gonna need my help. She's got her mom. She's got a decent job that pays her all right. So when her mom passes away, she'll be all right. But I guess it don't really matter what the moral of the story is, does it? On the 28th, it'll be 2 years since I got that phone call. You know, that exact phone call was a phone call that I had been afraid of since I was in Chesapeake, Virginia in 2016. I'd been afraid of that phone call for an entire year. It's bad enough when people think you did something that you didn't do. It's even worse when it's something that people did to you growing up and nobody cared. And now you're being punished But the people who did that to you were never punished. And you never did those things, so you don't deserve that punishment. Well, apparently there's a little dog here that needs to find its way back home. Since I know where it lives, I'm going to take it there. Y'all be safe.